Disclaimer: I am not paid or endorsed by Alien Gear Holsters or Tedder Industries. I have not and will not receive any compensation for the following review. We were contacted by a representative from Tedder Industries who asked us to review this holster. They provided the holster, asked us to test it out, and give an unbiased review. Hey guys, Nick with the Mic Loop. So a while back, Alien Gear Holsters contacted our page and asked if we could review their Rapid Force Duty holster. What I've done more or less is done a side-by-side comparison to my issued Safariland ALS 6360 holster. What Alien Gear Holsters has sent me is their Rapid Force Duty holster in basket weave pattern that's compatible for a Glock 19, Glock 45, or Glock 23 with a weapon-mounted light. This is great because it's compatible with my Glock 45 with a TLR1. I don't have an MOS system on my pistol. However, they did send me one that does have an RDS hood for a red dot sight, and it will work perfectly with or without the red dot sight. So check out my review, see my range time, and kind of compose your own opinion on what you might think of this Rapid Force holster, but this is my take on it. Side by side, the Rapid Force holster from Alien Gear and the Safariland 6360 ALS holster are very comparable in size and weight. The belt mounting systems are also comparable in width, so that means that anyone used to the Safariland system won't have to compensate much for belt sizing when it comes to this holster. After running some drills with a 1 round reload, 1 round, did about 30 rounds and draws with the Alien Gear holster. Empty chamber. So it's a simple movement of drive. It really works on very basic motor skills. Whereas the Safariland ALS great holster, you almost have to push forward and then swipe back. It's a little bit more of an involved movement, not much. This is really almost frog brain motion. It's very simple. I'm just driving my hand down onto the holster and drawing up quick in one simple motion. In my drills, I had a couple of small snags, but they were really insignificant. And so far, those drills are, there's a snag, and that was my fault because I didn't drive the thumb drive down big enough, and the hood caught it. Even though the lever mechanism was disengaged, the hood still caught it. So in the event of somebody trying to strip your gun, there's a two-step motion, drive and swipe. So if somebody's trying to just monkey grip your pistol out of your holster, obviously you can do defensive tactics and combatives to defend against that, but this is going to give you that time frame to do that. So again, drive straight down, swipe thumb back, draw up, present your firearm. Reholstering, that's going to be something that comes with muscle memory and time. I'm still used to the Safariland holster, so this is a little bit tighter tolerances than the Safariland holster. The Safariland is pretty open, so it can allow that reception of your firearm back. But overall, no look, I can find it really easy. It's just going to take a matter of repetitions, just like any new holster would. So overall, first run, 30 rounds, works really good. So, Safariland holster. I mean, I've been running a Safariland holster on my duty belt for probably 10 years on patrol. 6 of those years were SWAT as well. So I'm pretty proficient with the use of this. And so there were really minimal hang-ups and transitions in holstering. The Alien gear I've literally been using. When I got it, I tried it out, and today are really my first exposures to it. So given those comparisons, the Alien gear runs pretty much the same motions as the Safariland. So the Safariland, drive down, move the release back, and present. The Alien gear, it's a thumb drive, swipe back. This is a thumb drive with a rock forward, swipe back, a little bit of a hang up, swipe back, and present. One thing I have noticed with this is that if the retention screw on the light back here is set really tight, you get a lot of this. You get a lot of hang-ups. So in my setup, I'm actually having to let that screw out. And when I let that screw out completely loose, I did notice a critical failure for the ALS holster, that when the hood is down, if sufficient pressure is pushed back on the handle, the gun can come out. I do have the retention set a little bit tight to prevent that, but I did notice this in playing with this and setting it up, and I'll try to demonstrate it later, is that if sufficient pressure is pressed on the handle, it's just enough to get past that snag on the ejection port that's internally in the holster. So if you're having a lot of snags on your draw and you can't, if the retention is set too tight, then that could present a critical failure if your retention is too loose. So be mindful of that using this Safariland holster. But other than that, that's the one-to-one comparison with 30 rounds, 1 round reload, 1 round draws, and the comparison with the Alien gear Rapid Force and my issued duty Safariland ALS holster. They're both light bearing. The Safariland holster does not have an RDS attachment on it for red dots because we are not issued red dots on our pistols. But there you have it. There's the one-to-one comparison, and I'm going to continue shooting. So touching on an issue that I mentioned while at the range about a critical failure that I found on the Safariland holster as compared to the Alien gear Rapid Force holster. So what I discovered in messing with the retention and whatnot on the Safariland is you've got this retention screw that's right there, that what it does is it actually creates squeeze on the kydex around your light to have more of a grab when you draw. I found that if the retention is too tight, then I get hang-ups on my draw. Even if my retention is fully cleared, it still wants to grab my light on the draw if it's not just a perfect straight up draw out of the gun, and then you have the whole hang-up while you're trying to draw your gun. So just so safety sake, I mean, this is a clear firearm, no magazine, and no bullet in the chamber. So it isn't always funny. I always feel like I have to rack it 100 times. I don't know. It's really dumb. So anyway, whatever. It's tactical. So you got your Safariland. You got your firearm locked in your Safariland. Okay. You deactivate your first level of retention. You drop the hood, and you swipe the thumb stud or whatever this thing is, this little nub, and draw. Okay. What I found is that when the retention on the light is really loose, it creates this point where if sufficient pressure is put on the handle of the gun, it actually will defeat that. It actually will clear the latch that grabs your ejection port on the firearm. So again, my thumb is not touching the nub. It's locked in, but pressure on the handle, and it comes right out. So the only way to combat this is to really take your Allen wrench and tighten the retention down. To where there's some rub and some grab on this light bearing portion. So that being said, pressure still did it. So tighten it down some more. Whole lot of grab now. And I'm like, you know what? I'm thinking in terms of like a struggle for your gun scenario, crazy scenario, but it happens. So this is one of those situations where, hey, look, it's just a weak point that I've discovered. Maybe some other people found it, I don't know. Maybe it could be cured by the retention. I don't like a ton of squeeze on my light. I like to be able to flow my gun out nice and easy. So anyway, more pressure on the handle, downward pressure, still comes out. So, and that's that grabbing motion. I mean, just imagine like you're in a fight, super rare occurrence. I mean, bottom line, I think that if somebody's like grabbing your gun and taking it out of your holster, you're using terrible tactics in a fight for your life. Okay, but this is just one of those scenarios that, like, I'm just exposing this weakness. And look, I've had this holster for 10 years. It could be just the constant pull of the gun has worn down just enough with the ejection port catch to where it just doesn't catch as good as it used to. But I've just noticed this in mine, and I'm gonna have to address it with my department. So here we go again. Tighten it down some more. Did I tighten it? I'll tighten it some more. There, quarter turn. And I don't like this much retention. That's a lot for me. So again, pressure down on the handle, still comes out. So that, in my opinion, is an absolute critical failure on this Safariland holster. You take the Alien Gear holster here, gun's locked in, hood's down, hood's locked. I'm going to apply the same pressure on the handle, pull, no lock or no release. I'm going to drop the hood even. Same pressure on the handle, pulling out, downward pressure on the handle, pulling out, nothing. The only thing that makes that release is this little guy here. Comes out like butter. So again, thumb drive down, swipe back, comes out. So it's one instance that I've found in comparison with the Safariland holster and the Alien Gear holster where safety is concerned, and the critical failure actually goes to the Safariland. So kind of keep that in mind. All right, guys, we're gonna do a little torture test for this Rapid Force, Alien Gear Rapid Force holster. What I've got is I've got the holster tethered in by the belt loop with some paracord, and so it's hanging on the belt loop as if it would be on your belt. And what I'm going to do with a carabiner, I'm going to attach a 60-pound kettlebell to the I guess to this part. This looks like this could break, but I'm going to put it on the outside of the holster here and to add some 60 pounds of stress onto that outside lip. So we'll see if it breaks. If it breaks, hey, look, I'll let Alien Gear know and post in the video and y'all see, but I haven't done this yet. So fingers crossed I don't break this holster. So hooked in, and there you have it. Taken the 60-pounder and attached another 40-pound kettlebell to the chain, and we're going to do the same experiment. We're going to hook the carabiner into the back of the holster, and it's going to apply pressure on the holster itself and the connection to where attached to the belt mount. So see if I can pick this up without hurting myself. Alright, so there's the weight of the 60-pounder and 40-pounder. So, I mean, you have 100 pounds of kettlebell attached, hanging on the outside of this holster, and I mean, it looks heavier than I want to hang on to. But angle down. There they are, 40 and 60. Still works great. So overall, I think that the Rapid Force holster from Alien Gear is a quality duty holster that's going to stand up to anything that you can throw at it. In comparison to the Safariland holster, I think that it stands right up with it. So, I mean, if you're looking for a brand new holster, it's definitely a great option. And if you're new to law enforcement and you're just not sure what to get, this is a great option as well. Safariland holsters are the tanks of law enforcement duty holsters, but this one, it's right up there with it. And I really think that it's going to do really well in the market, and it'll stand up to anything that you can throw at it. So, that being said, time will tell on the durability of the holster. However, they do offer a forever warranty, which means that they will replace or repair broken parts on it for as long as the original owner owns the holster. They also offer a 30-day test drive on any new duty holster that you buy, or I think any Alien Gear holster, you can try for a 30-day period, which is information that comes with your purchase. So contact Alien Gear Holsters, ask them questions, check them out on social media, ask them all the questions. I'm sure they'll respond. They're very responsive in comments that I've read. And guys, it's a good holster. It's a good option. So that being said, pick out some good gear and stay training and stay safe.